All right, guys, what's going on? Back at you with another episode of Quarantine Football. Like always, I'm your co-host Ryan with you guys today, and I actually have a co-host today with me. I haven't had one with me the past couple of episodes because of finals, but finally he is done with his finals. I got Dorian with us today. What's going on, Dorian? How you doing, man?
I'm chilling, man. I mean, you guys have left me hanging on a couple of episodes too, but that's what happens. But I'm happy to be here. Man, finals are over too, so you can expect to hear a lot more from us. So I'm excited about that.
Hey man, I'm excited for you to be on the show today. Definitely miss talking with you and having you as my co-host. Like always, absolute pleasure to have you back with us. And glad finals are over for you because that means more interviews and more NFL episodes on the way for all of our listeners. But with that, we have a very special guest on the show today, wide receiver Kyion Grayes. What's going on, Kyion? How you doing today, man?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me.
And man, absolute pleasure to have you on the show, especially a talent like yourself. And I mean, staying on that topic of being that type of talent, I mean, what is it like being able to, at such a young age, go out on the field and just, be the best player on the field almost every single week?
I say it's just a blessing because some people can't get put in that position. And so every day, every time I go out, it's just a blessing. I just thank God for everything I have and my parents and everything because they're the ones who blessed me with my talent and where I'm at now.
Yeah, 100%, man. Absolute blessing, especially for you and at the age that you are. Great talent like yourself, everything's a blessing at that point. Another question that I wanted to ask, one that I like to ask at the beginning of all of our episodes to all of our interviews. Uh, why did you start playing football and more specifically, why wide receiver?
I'd say why I started playing, it was just kind of like I'd say it was something that ran in the family and it started coming to me as I got older. One of the first things my dad put in my hand was a football when I was younger. And so it just started going, and my love for the game kept going. As I got older, my love for the game got stronger. And it was just like it just kept going, kept going. And then I got here where I'm at now.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, absolutely great story right there. Would you say that, obviously you mentioned your dad put a football in your hand, but would you say that football, sort of runs in your family?
I I'd say it would, like on my side with my dad, because I'm trying to follow what he did football wise. And so I'm going to continue to push myself to get to that level and just continue to work.
Yeah, definitely, man. 100%, always putting in work, always wanting to get to that level for sure. Dorian, I'm gonna pass it over to you for a couple of questions.
For sure, man. So your class of 2022, you've been going through this recruiting process. What's been different through this recruiting process because of COVID, and what's your experience going through it?
Really just not being able to visit most of the places that I want to go to right now. There's certain places, Ohio State, Oregon, there's these places that I want to go to, but I can't officially like have decisions because I can't see these places and I can't be like, well, I'm just going to go blindly and say, okay, forget it. But like, it's just hard because you can't see places and people can't come see you either. You're over Zoom calls and all that, trying to talk to people. And it's harder. It's a lot harder this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different for everyone, and I'd imagine going through this process, even just trying to go out and put more tape out is difficult. I don't know how
Oh, yeah.
football is around you, but for us, a lot of high school sports got canceled.
Yeah, for us, we played it. I think it was an 8 game season and 10 game playoffs, and then made it 10 games full with playoffs. And then I didn't play much of playoffs because I got hurt the first game of playoffs, so I didn't really get too much playoff tape. But I'd say my tape this year was actually pretty good for it being only 8 games. So I'm thinking like, just imagine if I was able to play 15 or 14 games, then it would be a lot different.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, absolute shame that you got injured in that first playoff game. But, talking about your tape and about this past season, you mentioned how if you had tape of all 15 games, I'm sure it would have been absolutely stellar. But I'm 100% sure that your tape was still absolutely incredible. Out of all the plays that you've made this season, what would you say has been your favorite play so far from this past year?
Ooh, my favorite one. That's a hard one. I'd have to say my our last game of the season against our rival Hamilton. this was my second touchdown of the game. My quarterback, because we did this last season or last year, and we almost won the game off of it, but we barely missed it. And so this time he came back. We had an out route, and a go concept.
Mm-hmm.
And my quarterback said, I'm gonna pump the out and I'm gonna send it to you just on the go, just take off. I was like, all right. He pumped it. I looked back, took off right past the dude, touchdown. That would have to be my favorite one because it reminded me so much of last year and what I missed, an opportunity that I missed last year that we capitalized off of this year.
Yeah, I really like that, man. Being able to capitalize on that opportunity, knowing that you missed it last year, I think that's a really great thing. I mean, I'm just imagining that route in my head with yourself at wide receiver. I mean, I can't even imagine how the defensive back felt when he saw you running that route. I mean, at least after that pump fake, he's probably like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get
It
burned." And
really down.
I mean, shit, that's what happened. With a great talent like you at wide receiver, that's what happens. Kind of going back to what Dorian mentioned, obviously with COVID and affecting the recruiting process. Obviously you haven't been able to visit any schools so far, but you've been able to do these Zoom calls that a lot of schools have been doing. What has the Zoom calls been like? Have you had the chance to actually visit any schools before COVID happened?
The only one I really visited was U of A.
Hmm.
That was really and ASU was one, but it was only hometown schools. And so those were really the only two that I could visit. And then right after that, everything just went downhill and it was just bad. And then there was nothing I could do about it.
Yeah, man, it really sucks what's happening, but obviously, hasn't really affected the offers you've been getting. You've been getting tons of offers from tons of great schools. Staying on topic of COVID affecting the recruiting process, what has been the atmosphere like in these Zoom calls with these top schools that have offered you?
I mean, it's been great. We always talk family. It's always me, my mom. We always talking. My dad. We just talk family. They take us around the facility, all the simple stuff. But I feel like it would be a lot better if I can come there and actually get the feeling, because it's like a half in, half out type of ordeal. You're like, okay, well, I like it on paper, but am I gonna like it in person when we finally get to that point? And so it's good, but it's not the same as actually being there in person.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, nothing beats being in person, and those Zoom calls. As great as they can being able to visit the college, being able to see the atmosphere there. Nothing really beats that. 100% agree with you there. Dorian, I'm gonna pass it over to you for a couple of questions.
So for you being a wide receiver, is one of the more flashy positions, I would say, on the football field. Everyone knows the wide receivers. But for the casual fan, what would you say is probably the most difficult part about playing receiver?
I'd say just the routes, just little things like people don't see, but if you're running a route and a corner sitting at 5 yards where you're trying to make your cut, it makes it a lot harder because you have to try and get around them, and your quarterback's on timing, and so you got to try and hit them, get inside, do whatever. And it's there's just a lot of little things that people don't realize that about route running that's actually very difficult.
What would you say in terms of the route tree is your favorite route to run?
Run right by them, go route. I
Yeah, that's
love going
valid.
back and
That's
forth.
valid.
Hey, I'm not gonna hate. I love running those plays. Hey, everyone loves seeing a go route go right up the field for a
Right over the
touchdown.
top.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's always a great route when you burn a defensive back. I'd assume that's one of the best feelings for a wide receiver. Am I correct?
Oh, best feeling. The best feeling. Nothing the only thing that beats that is scoring a touchdown.
Oh, 100%. I mean, talking about scoring touchdowns, obviously being a wide receiver, you're put into a lot of moments where you have to get game-winning touchdowns, game-winning catches, stuff like that. And it's a lot of pressure on you. How would you say that pressure affects you personally as a player?
I say it kind of keeps me level headed. I don't know. I just don't really think too much. When I go out there and play, my head is always leveled. I don't get too high on myself. I don't get too low on myself. And like, I never want to let pressure get to me, because the more you start thinking, the more you let all that get to you, the more mistakes you're going to make. Everything's just going to mess up. I always like to go out there and play casual.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing, man. I love how you said, the more you think about it, the more it's going to get to you. I definitely agree. I think you just got to go out there, just stick to your game, just play the game, and you'll be fine in terms of pressure. Obviously, being a wide receiver like yourself, you're obviously under that pressure quite a lot. What has been the biggest, sort of moment that you've succeeded in where there was a lot of pressure on you to make a play?
I would say my sophomore year, the same team. You remember how I said I missed that one opportunity? Well,
Hmm.
we were down by one touchdown, and we were down all game. We were down 14 points all game. We were down one touchdown, or it was tied. I don't remember. It was one of the two. It was close though, super close against our rival. And I ran a deep corner route. My quarterback just put it up there, and I caught it, and we went down to like the 30, 20-yard line, and that won us the game basically. That put us in perfect. It was like 3rd and 15, 6, something like that. It was deep, far, and that just put us in perfect position. We won the game off of that.
So what I'm hearing is you have the term that Nate Burleson coined, toe drag swag.
Love it. We getting there. I missed a few of them this year.
Hey, you can't make all of them, but I like the answers that you gave, man. And they say a lot about having a quote unquote short term memory in football, because you got to be able to go back out there and be able to make the plays, and not dwell on it too much.
Yeah, I mean, having a short-term memory is a big part of football because like sometimes you let moments get to you and it's like catches that you should have made that you might drop and you let that stuff get to you throughout the game and it just messes with you. So having a short-term memory is a very great thing to have when it comes to football.
So I've always had this question that I should have asked it before with some receivers that we've had on. But what is it about when if you miss a catch or something? Why do you guys look at your hands like what's going on there? You
Because you feel like you let them down or you feel like you let yourself down, you like, come on, hands. Like we make these catches every day and it's like, dang, what was different about this one? It was just that stuff.
okay. That's the end. Man, I've always wondered because you see it on TV, you see it in games. They're always
Yeah.
just like, I'm like, come on, like catch, come on.
Hey, Dorian really calling out all wide receivers across the country right now. I don't know what's with this slander, Dorian. Pretty disrespectful to all the wide receivers. But hey, man,
I'm a Cowboys fan.
uh,
I've dealt with some questionable receiver play in the past. So.
oh, trust me, man. We all know Dez didn't catch it. We all know that. I'll argue that for days. But kind of staying on track about wide receivers and making catches. Playing wide receivers, there's a lot of difficult things. Oh, Dorian already touched on that as well. With the route running and going up against cornerback. What would you say is the sort of hardest cornerback to go up against personally for you as a wide receiver?
I would say there's two that I played against, but one of them I didn't really guard. One of them didn't really guard me. Keely Ringo and my friend Cole. One, Keely because he's just a specimen. Dude, 6'3", 215 G's, just ripped, fast, runs like a 4.4, 4.3. Just everything you need in a cornerback. And then my friend Cole, I've been going against him since 8th grade. I know him like the back of my hand. He knows me like the back of my hand, back of his hand. So it's like it's always competition whenever we go against each other.
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously your friend Cole definitely sounds like the next up and coming lockdown cornerback for sure in the NFL. I would definitely have my eyes out for him. But obviously, going up against cornerbacks like those are always a struggle. I feel like for wide receivers, and there's always some great trash talking that we see on the field between wide receivers and defensive backs. Have you had any run-ins with defensive backs in games where they're just talking a ton of trash?
Not really, because I don't really engage in talking unless like I really dislike the team. So I don't really engage in anything. I just go out there and play my game because at the end of the day, the talking isn't really necessary. If you over there scoring touchdowns, they can be talking all day, but what they gonna do about it?
Yeah,
Hey,
that's a fact.
that's facts.
Go
As
ahead, Dorian. Go ahead.
Now, I want to talk about a little more about you and playing wide receiver. There's certain parts of the game that each player takes pride in. What's one part of your game that you really take pride in, and what's something that you would want to improve upon?
I'd say improve upon probably have to be a little bit more of the hands. I mean, like I have good hands, but I feel like I need more focus and like I don't look the ball in all the time, and that's like my problem. But that's one thing I would need to improve on. And one thing I take pride in will probably just be like I'd say my speed. I'd say maybe like something like that, just something in that caliber. Like I take pride in what I do when it comes to running routes, running past people. I feel like my speed will help me with all that, and that's probably my answer for me.
Yeah, and that touches upon what you said earlier in running your routes, going into the route tree. And I think like you said, the route tree is something that a lot of people are, they don't take it into account. There's so
Oh yeah,
many different routes out there. Like you said, there's the go route, there's slants, ins, outs. Like it's so many just little nuances that people don't know about.
yeah. It's a lot harder than what people see on like TV and all that, especially when going out there and running them. It's just every little thing.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Every little thing matters in the game of football. Kind of transitioning more to about your recruiting process once again. Funny little story. At least, from my perspective, when I hit you up, I was like, "Hey, yo, you trying to come on the show?" You're like, "I'm down." I'm like, "Cool, we're about to get an Arizona commit." And then come December 14th, I look at your Instagram, and man's not committed to Arizona anymore. I'm like, "Oh shit, what happened?" And decommitted from Arizona. I'm sure you had some good reasons behind it. I'm sure there's no bad blood between you and Arizona. But
Mm-hmm.
what was the thought process behind decommitting from Arizona?
Really, just after the game, me and my parents are watching the game, the ASU U of A game, and it was just kind of hard to watch. And then after the night, like right as we're walking to the buses for my state championship game, one of my friends said Coach Sumlin just got fired. And so after that, I went home with my parents after the state game. I talked to them. They told me, they said, we are fine with you reopening your recruitment. I have no problem with it because at that point, we don't know what U of A is going. Shoot, did my thing cut out? Oh, shoot.
You're good. You're
But
good.
my fault. But we don't know what U of A is going to be doing right now, so it's kind of hard to tell because the people up there, like the coaches and all that's like family. So it wouldn't really be right if I stayed there and the people that I came there for aren't there.
Mhm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I think, coaching has a big part in, the recruiting process. Obviously, you'll have a coach saying, oh, you'll have this role for the team. You'll be promised a certain role. And then if that coach ends up getting fired, you don't know if you'll have that role with the new coach under the new system.
Yeah,
So that definitely 100% makes sense right there. And, obviously opening up your recruitment leaves, potential, all across the field with all these different colleges that offer you, from Penn State, Texas, Oregon, LSU, list goes on. And one team that actually really stuck out that I didn't mention is Ohio State. And Ohio State being such a big college that Ohio State is, what was the moment like being offered that scholarship by Ohio State?
that was probably the most speechless I have been in a while. Like I did not expect that at all. And it's because coming from such a big school like that, it was just jeez. Like I couldn't even say nothing
Yeah, man.
like
I
at all.
mean, yeah,
I was speech
100%.
I even told Coach Hart, I'm on the phone speechless, like words gone, excited, like just sitting there thinking like, dang.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I mean, such a big school, every year I feel like they have some great, great wide receivers, and I feel like you would definitely make a great addition to that team for sure. This is kind of a bold question, but if you had to make a top five of where you want to go right now, what would that top five be? If you have one, that is.
I don't want to make one right now because I don't want to designate like anywhere particular. because like right now it's just kind of like we'll see what happens. I have an idea
Mm-hmm.
on where I want to be, and I know where I'm most likely going to end up, but I don't want to put that out there just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, kind of a bold question. Obviously, makes sense that you don't want to, put that out there right now, but you do have an idea, which is definitely great to hear. I'm sure for all college football fans out there, very excited to see where you're going to end up for sure. Dorian, I'm gonna pass it over to you for a couple more questions.
Man, you're just trying to make some news right now, aren't you?
Hey, I'm always trying to make some news, always trying to get on the headline. You know me.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But going into a little further in your career, we're gonna project out. Do you see the NFL in your future?
I see it, but like with everything, like obviously that's my main goal. Like that's my plan A, my plan B, and my plan C. There's
Mm,
plan D. I know my plan D, but I know my main goal, and that's where I want to be. And so I see it, but you always gotta have your stuff ready for like just in case, because you never know. This game is ruthless. Injury, anything. Injury, the main thing. Anything can happen. But I see it, but I'm not gonna look too far ahead right now. I'm gonna just focus on what I gotta do. And then eventually when that time comes, we'll see what round I end up in.
definitely, man. Yeah, and still on the topic of the NFL, I said it, I'm a Cowboys fan. What team do you root for, and are there any players that in the NFL currently or past that you've modeled your game after?
Hey, I better not hear any
Um
Cowboys players right here. I'm just saying that.
nah, so my favorite team is the Cardinals.
Okay.
Hometown. And my favorite player would have to be Stephon Diggs. It's like I watch a lot of John Ross. That's one of my favorites. But someone I see myself as is Stephon Diggs. Exactly. Like that's nice routes, can do it all in open field, great hands, everything. Just that's someone that I try to watch every day before I go play, before I do anything. That's like the one person.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
100%. Oh, go ahead, Dorian. My
I
fault.
was just gonna say Stefan is proven to everyone. We already knew, but if you didn't already know, Stefan's one of the best receivers in the league right
Oh
now.
yeah. Oh yes.
Hey, dude's an absolute beast. I actually made a TikTok the other day. It was comparing Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins, and I got a ton of hate in the chat or in the comments because Stephon Diggs' stats ended up being a bit better than DeAndre's this year. But everyone's like, "Oh, didn't mention drops, didn't mention this, that." I'm like, I'm not saying he's better. I'm just comparing their stats. Like, get off my
Comparing,
back.
yeah.
That's all I was doing, and people were just on my neck about it. I'm like, y'all gotta relax. It's just fun and games. I'm honestly just trying to make some content over here. But, getting back on topic, I absolutely love Stephon Diggs, always have. And he has a great quarterback in Josh Allen. And you
Mhm.
mentioned, obviously you're a Cardinals fan. Fun fact about me, I actually have a signed DeAndre Hopkins jersey sitting right next to me right now.
Woo.
It's the coolest thing that I own. Unfortunately, it's not a Cardinals jersey; it's a Texans one.
Oh,
I mean, I won it off a giveaway. I got it for free. I ain't gonna complain about it. It's an absolute dope thing to have, and eventually he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. So I got a future Hall of Famers jersey,
oh
but
yeah.
yeah, so I can't be mad about it. But you mentioned how you're a Cardinals fan. Are you satisfied with the season they're having so far? I mean, I was pretty upset this past Sunday because they absolutely kicked the Giants' ass, and I was pretty pissed off about that.
I'm pretty happy for where we're at right now because we've been rebuilding for a long time. Through Carson Palmer, Drew Stain, geez, we've been rebuilding for a long time. So for us to be like playoff contenders this year, I'm actually pretty happy with where we're at. And I feel like next year we're gonna have an even better chance of winning the conference as long as we beat Seattle and the 49ers. But I feel like this year I'm pretty happy with where we're at.
Oh yeah, 100% agree with you there. I mean, Cardinals have been rebuilding for like ever. It feels like. I mean, one big answer that they got with out of the draft at overall pick number one, Kyler Murray. Do you think Kyler can be an MVP caliber quarterback in the next couple of seasons?
Yes. Yes. That man, for him being that height is just it's so much fun. That's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. Just play. The speed of Lamar Jackson and the throwing of Russell Wilson. Like, who puts that together? Like, why? That's a great combination.
Hey, 100% agree with you there. I mean, Kyler is just an absolute beast. Like you said, speed of Lamar, throwing of Russ. I definitely agree with you. I think he's going to be an MVP quarterback in the next couple of seasons. I thought it was going to be this year, and then they kind of went on that little skid, but then they, like I said, kicked the Giants' ass, and now they're kind of back on track. I was definitely very unhappy, I'd say, this past Sunday. But we'll move on from that. Kind of another question I want to ask. Going back to your recruiting process. Obviously, with committing to a college, it also comes academics. Is that something big that you're looking for in a school as well?
Oh yes, most definitely. Because what I want to like, whatever I do want to major in, I want to make sure that college has what I need to continue that major and continue to like go through with that. But academics is a main thing for me, especially because getting a degree from somewhere like Ohio State, you can go get a job anywhere. Like it's like going to USC too. You go to USC, go get a degree from there. You can go work anywhere. But that's a main thing.
Yeah, man. And we're transitioning in the interview now. We asked you a ton about your football career and everything like that. Now we want to transition into a couple fun questions. So the question I have for you is, what are your top 3 favorite foods?
Ooh, ooh. Okay. One gotta be the baked mac and cheese that my dad be making. That's one. Smoked turkey legs. And I gotta say, what would be a third one? Oh, you got me here. Um, I have to say ham or like pork chops and all that.
Hey, I can't be mad at that. Actually, just had some pork chops earlier, so I'm set.
I got one right here.
Hey, I like that. That's definitely a valid list. Top up on mine. Kind of. I want to know. I want to say unpopular, but kind of an odd one. I love sushi. That's my favorite one.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know what the sushi's like in Arizona, but it's pretty smack here in Jersey. I will say that.
I never really like fish and all that, like that seafood. I don't know why. I just never, because my mom's allergic to it, and so she always thought I was allergic to it, so we never ate it.
Yeah, that's valid. My brother was allergic to fish for a little bit. He outgrew it, but now he doesn't even eat it anymore. So like, I get sushi for myself, and everyone else will eat like tacos or something. That's just how it'll be going in my household. But another fun question I want to ask you, one that I personally like asking everyone is, if you had to choose a top 3 favorite artists out there right now to listen to before a game, which 3 guys are you going with?
I'm gonna go with Kendrick Lamar. Um, who would be another one? Who do I listen to? To get me hype, I listen to No Savage. That's my brother. My brother's people. He put me on. Um, who else would there be? And then I'll probably just listen to some slow stuff like No Cap or something. Just simple stuff. Kendrick
Hey,
Lamar will forever be my favorite though.
Hey, I
That's
love
that's
I love the Kendrick. I love the Kendrick pick. He's one of my favorites. Have to say that I would have to say you're the first guy out of all the guys we've interviewed who hasn't mentioned Lil Baby. Every single guy we have on the show always says Lil Baby. Dorian's not in his head. Yes, I know he knows what I'm talking about. Every guy mentions Lil Baby. So, kind of nice to see that you're not trending down that bit of a mainstream road. But, I love Kendrick Lamar. He's one of my favorites of all time. What's your favorite Kendrick song?
Ooh, I have to say there's a few. I kind of like Ronald Reagan era. That's one. I kind of like, what else is there? I'm trying to think. Rigor Mortis is a good one. Um, I'm trying not to name like mainstream ones that
Yeah,
everybody listens to.
that's valid. That's
Um,
valid.
what else would there be? I'm trying to remember. I got one. High Power.
Oh,
Um,
that's a really good one. I love that one.
Blow My High. That's another one. Any of them. Anything off the Section 80 album. Good Kid, Mad City. All that.
Hey,
Everything.
yeah, 100% agree, man. I mean,
Can't
Kendrick's
be
just
mad.
he's an absolute genius. And, I really hope he comes out with a new album soon because I've been waiting since my freshman year, ever since after, I think it was called, yeah, Damn. Ever since after Damn, I've been waiting for a new album because I want some more Kendrick in my playlist personally. But,
I do. I
Listen,
do.
I've
It
been
hurts.
I've been waiting on him and J. Cole to drop forever.
oh, if they ever come out with
And
that
it's
collab
never gonna
album,
happen.
Hey,
is that
that one collab they had, Black Friday, was probably one of the best songs. Was my favorite song for like at least 2 years straight.
Oh
For
yeah,
real.
they're just like peanut butter and jelly. Honestly, they go
It's
hand in hand.
perfect.
They're just crazy together, and I really hope they come out with a collab album sometime soon because that would be awesome. But with that, that pretty much wraps up our show for today. Kyion, I want to thank you so much for being able to hop on the show and talk with me and Dorian today. Absolute pleasure to have you on. You got anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I just want to say thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. I actually had fun here. We had good conversations, made all that, and I really appreciate this.
Yeah, man, of course. Glad to hear that you had fun. Really appreciate that. That's kind of our motto. We try to make it less serious. Obviously, being a high profile athlete like yourself, everyone kind of looks at you guys as like sort of not like us, not normal people, but we try to show that, athletes are just like everyone else, and we try to just make everyone seem just like a normal person and incorporate, sort of everyday stuff into our conversations. But once again, want to thank you for hopping on the show. Absolute pleasure talking to you today. Dorian, you got anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Thank you, man, for coming on with us. It was a pleasure. I can't wait to see your future and where you end up playing, and hopefully we'll see you in the NFL one day.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Hey, definitely agree with Dorian there. Can't wait to see where you end. If anyone's not watching the video, he just looked down at his hand like how Dorian mentioned that. That's fucking great. But like Dorian said, can't wait to see where you end up playing, man. Especially if you make it to the NFL, we're gonna be rooting for you all the way. But with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening today. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the show and listen to all of our episodes. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't, make sure you follow our Instagram at QF Podcast. We're trying to hit 7K by the end of December, and we're about 200 away right now. So we're getting very close, expecting to hit 7,000 followers. But if you haven't, make sure you go give us a follow at QF Podcast. But with that, I want to thank everyone for listening today, and we'll see you guys next time.